Welcome, Virgo, to your Sagittarius full moon 2 week forecast for the ascendant, the sun, or the moon. On the 31st of May, the second full moon of the month, the blue moon, occurs in the free spirited fire sign of Sagittarius. We can look at that from an overall viewpoint, but each lunation is totally unique. On the screen is the event chart from a Virgo viewpoint. I'm going to unpack this for you. By the end of the video, you have a clear picture of what the next 2 weeks holds in terms of your energy, work, relationships, or finances. I'm astrologer Patrick Arundel. A very warm welcome. If you've yet to subscribe to my channel, please do so now to help it to continue to thrive, but please also click or tap the bell notification symbol. The fourth house, where the full moon occurs for you, is very much about how we feel about things. Sagittarius can be a truth seeker. It can also be very expansive. It can be very resistant to any kind of constraint, but also it can be a sign which amplifies energies. And at the top of your chart, the sun in the sign of Gemini, very much to do with your connection to the world. But you've also recently got now Uranus, the planet of fresh ideas and innovation, but also of change. Mercury, your ruler, is also in that 10th house too. So the 10th house is about those worldly demands. It can be going to our jobs. It can be local activities that we have responsibilities in. If we have children, it can be our role as parents, but it's very much to do with where we're targeting our goals and ambitions. Whereas the moon position in the sign of Sagittarius, how things feel. But if there is something out of kilter, so for example, you're spending so much time working on those aims and targets that you're ignoring a little bit your inner world, your family situation, or your domestic one, it may be time for something to be realigned. Then again, if you work in a job where you don't like the atmosphere, it's not very nurturing, it's not very supportive, or very fourth house principles, that can also be amplified too. But what makes this even more powerful this year is the role of Mars, because Mars is linking to that moon in an exact conjunction, and Mars is in a part of your chart to do with freedom and independence. Ironically, very Sagittarius principles, but in your fellow Earth sign of Taurus, you could see you thinking around your point of view about worth, what your worth is, but perhaps also your financial worth. So, for example, if your professional situation means that you're not really having that time with your family, but you don't feel very rewarded, it could be something that really does have an impact on your thinking. Then again, if you're being caught up a little bit by the demands of things at home, and that makes it difficult to focus on those more worldly interactions, Mars can see you being more assertive about making people know that you have to do what's right for you, the individual. Very Mars energy. There are some other planetary influences that do show some tension. Venus, the relator, is in a square with Saturn, the limitator, and that's in the eighth house, which can be to do with long-term finance, business, and so on. So if you're working with people where you don't really feel there's a future, the 11th house, it's not very friendly, the 11th house. Yes, it may bring you some financial rewards, but if you're not really getting to see your family very much, but there's a lot of professional demands, Mars can push you to review and perhaps even escape. We also have Uranus right at the top of your chart, suggesting being the most prominent player in this illustration, and it's linked to the north and south node that changes in the air around your structures. And even though you may have been someone who's had a particular way of doing things for some time that's felt comfortable, Pluto over the last couple of years has slowly but surely been showing us all that the world is changing around us, even if we don't want to change. Now, Pluto's forging a very strong link along with the part of fortune with these two players at the top of your chart. So if you're up for chasing a new ambition, and you're prepared to perhaps compromise a little bit on how much home, personal, and emotional space you get, this could be a time of a big advance if you're open to flex. And maybe Mars in the ninth house in that regard can bring out a more adventurous and daring part of your nature. So I'm going to summarize those four areas, Virgo, of energy, work, relationships, and finances next. But just to say, I've reduced the price of my personal horoscope reports. For many years, it's buy two, get 30% off. Because of the cost of living increases, now it's buy one, get three for the price of one. The one you pay for, your life roadmap report, which helps us to understand the patterns that are playing out in our personal situation based on our birth chart. Becoming more intimate with that energy helps us to make better decisions future forwards. Three, the 12 months transit forecast. So all these moving planets in the sky, but how they're interacting with your unique nativity. Draconic chart is our soul karmic analysis. If your north node in your nativity is not late in Pisces or early in Aries, your draconic chart can look hugely different. It's a different way of looking at astrology, life, and ourselves, and it can be very profound. Please see the link below for more. If you've yet to watch your June monthly forecast, Virgo, that's on the screen. Your Mars in Taurus 6-week forecast on the screen. If you'd like to work with me one-to-one, it'd be an absolute pleasure. I work with people the world over, every single continent. Please check out my testimonials below. And if you get to take advantage of that free daily written horoscope, fire to your device each morning for your early day celestial pit stop, you can sign up for that below too. I do believe that some people who are very invested in natal astrology can be quite sniffy about daily horoscopes, but if they're written properly, thoughtfully, they're not prescriptive, they're outlining the dominant planetary energy that day, it helps us, it gives us a guide, and we can make those better decisions. And finally, so as far as your energy is concerned, so energy has lots of different forms, doesn't it? The fourth house energy for me is very important. So, for example, if we're happy in our home, where we live, our family life, it's nurturing, it's supportive, then usually that helps us in our physical vitality. So this moon, because Sagittarius energy can be amplifying, could show up if you're not happy in that emotional world, but you have quite a lot of burdens in your worldly interactions. So if you're carrying that and you feel someone's not really being as caring and as responsive as they could be, that could be something that shows up on this event. But equally, it could be that in your in your determination to make progress, to increase your earnings, take on a more successful, responsible role, you're not quite being mindful of your inner world, and that's an important trap to avoid. Then again, you could work in an environment where it's not a very good atmosphere. The fourth house is very much about atmospheres or environment, or it isn't very caring, and that can make you think again, but that can have an effect on your energy. So I feel as far as your professional situation is concerned, if you enjoy working where you are and you're open to change, or you're open to apply for a new job, this could be a dazzling time for you. As far as your finances are concerned, that's very much that eighth house energy where Saturn is. Saturn, of course, can limit. It is in a square with the planet of money, Venus, at the start of this month, so care is required. However, if you manage all your resources in a very precise way and a prudent way, I think you can actually overcome that. And some good fortune can drop for you through week 2 of June, and it could be extremely good fortune, particularly linked to any kind of group dynamic. So if you do like that flutter uh, with others as well. And then as far as your romantic situation is concerned, well, I think it's a lot to do with whether you feel supported in an ongoing relationship. The North Node is asking you to trust your instincts on connections, but it is clashing with Uranus at the start of this month and the South Node, the T square. So if there's a lot of pressure at work and you're not feeling very supported. That square between Saturn and Venus could show up a vulnerability around a relationship. If, however, you're not in a relationship at the moment and you'd like to meet someone, I do feel that June could turn out to be quite a spectacular month as long as you can up your social interaction. It's been a pleasure being with you, Virgo. All the best for this Sagittarius blue moon. Look forward to seeing you again soon.